What you are about to hear is not random. It may be the very whisper your soul has been begging for. You've felt it, haven't you? That heaviness when you're alone. That sense that someone is watching you, even when the room is empty. That weight pressing on your heart at night when you try to sleep but your chest refuses to rest. You call it anxiety, you call it stress, you call it bad luck. But Ibn-Arabi called it something else. He said, "What hunts you does not see your body, it sees your light." And tonight, I need you to listen carefully, because if you leave now, you will miss the one protection that could make you invisible to every eye that envies you, every whisper that tempts you, every shadow that stalks you. Centuries ago, Ibn-Arabi revealed a method so rare, so hidden, that most people will live and die without ever hearing it. A way to erase your name from the memory of evil itself. And by the end of this reminder, if you stay with me, you will understand how to walk through jealousy, envy, shaitan, and the unseen world, not in fear, not in weakness, but cloaked in a shield so bright that nothing can touch you. Don't click away. Don't miss this, because what you're about to hear may be the difference between walking exposed or walking hidden in Allah's protection. Ibn Arabi said, "When the servant is drowned in Dhikr, his presence vanishes from creation and remains only with the Creator." What does it mean to drown in Dhikr? It means your tongue is not just saying the words, your soul is drinking them. It means the remembrance of Allah does not stay at the edge of your lips. It floods into your chest, and it travels through your veins until you cannot breathe without it. It means that the world may still see you standing, walking, eating, speaking, but in reality, you are no longer here. Your soul has shifted into a place where only Allah can see you. This is why Ibn Arabi called it vanishing, because when you live like this, you vanish from the sight of creation. You vanish from the reach of jealousy. You vanish from the traps of envy. You vanish from the whispers of shaitan. You vanish from the gaze of those who would harm you. Evil searches for you in the world. It knocks on the doors of your life. It tries to reach through the cracks of your weaknesses. But when it comes close, it finds nothing. It reaches for you and grasps only air, because your soul is not where they left it. Your soul has been lifted. It has been relocated. It now dwells in the safety of Allah's remembrance. Imagine walking into a crowded room. Every pair of eyes scans the crowd, looking for you. Their eyes land on every corner, every shadow, every face. But when they pass by you, they do not recognize you. They look, but they cannot see. They search, but they cannot find. This is the reality of the one who lives in Dhikr. You may still exist here with people, but in truth, your reality is elsewhere. You are hidden in the folds of divine mercy. You are carried into a light that cannot be reached. And so Ibn Arabi teaches us, invisibility is not a trick of the body. It is not to hide behind walls. It is not to cover yourself from people. It is to vanish inside Allah. It is to live in His name so deeply that creation forgets you. When you are drowned in remembrance, the dunya cannot chain you. When you are drowned in remembrance, the unseen cannot track you. When you are drowned in remembrance, the arrows of jealousy break before they ever arrive. When you are drowned in remembrance, you become untouchable, not because you escaped, but because you were carried into the safety of the one who never sleeps. Have you ever noticed that sometimes, when you remember Allah deeply, people who wish you harm simply lose interest? Their plans scatter, their whispers dry up, their jealousy fades. It is not coincidence. It is protection. It is Allah covering you in a veil they cannot see through. And here is the greatest truth. When Allah hides you, no one can expose you. When Allah shields you, no one can touch you. When Allah erases you from the sight of creation, only His mercy can find you. When you disappear into Allah, you are not gone in despair. You are gone in safety. You are not erased into emptiness. You are erased into light. The dunya may think you are here, but you are not standing with them anymore. Your soul has been escorted to a place that only angels can see, and in that place, evil is blind. This is the secret Ibn-Arabi carried. He knew that the world is full of hunters. Some hunt with their eyes, some hunt with their envy, some hunt with their whispers. But all of them are blind before the one who carries Allah's name in every heartbeat. The hunter may sharpen his arrow, but he cannot see the target. The envious may boil in rage, but his eyes are fogged by divine veils. The whisperer may come close to your ear, but when he tries to speak, he finds only silence. Because you are no longer where you once were. You are drowned in remembrance, and that remembrance has taken you beyond their reach. Think of the ocean. When a drop of water falls in, it loses itself completely. It no longer has its own shape, its own edge, its own border. It becomes part of something vast. That is you, when you fall into Dhikr. You lose the borders that make you vulnerable. You lose the edges that can be attacked. You dissolve into the endless ocean of Allah's mercy. And once you are in that ocean, who can catch you? No hand can grasp the entire sea. No arrow can pierce its depth. No shadow can drown its light. This is why Ibn-Arabi spoke of vanishing, because what vanishes into Allah is never found by what hides from Allah. And so, invisibility is not just a gift, it is a state of love. It is Allah saying, "Come so close to me that the world forgets you. Let me be your only witness." What greater protection is there than this? The world may try to harm you, but the world cannot even see you. They may call your name, but your soul does not answer. They may try to chain your steps, but your spirit walks elsewhere. You are no longer a prisoner of their reach. You are a guest in Allah's presence. And in His presence, there is no fear. In His presence, there is no envy. In His presence, there is no harm. The more you taste this, the more you realize the dunya is not the real battlefield. The real battlefield is where your soul chooses to stand. If you stand in the open, the arrows of jealousy will find you. If you stand in heedlessness, the whispers of shaitan will bite you. But if you stand in remembrance, you are no longer on the battlefield at all. You are standing under Allah's throne, covered in His shade, guarded by His mercy. This is why the lovers of Allah, the Sufis, the seekers of His nearness, they were never destroyed by their enemies. Their enemies could kill their bodies, but they could never reach their souls, because their souls were invisible. Their souls were hidden. Their souls were drowned in the ocean of Dhikr, and this is where you, too, can live. Not far away, not in some distant time, but here, now, tonight. Start with one breath. Start with one remembrance. Start with one whisper of His name, and watch how the world begins to lose sight of you. Watch how evil grows blind. Watch how you begin to disappear into Him. This is not superstition. This is not imagination. This is reality, but only for the one who is ready to vanish. So, ask yourself, where do you want to live? In the gaze of people, where envy hunts you? In the whispers of shaitan, where harm follows you? Or in the presence of Allah, where you are invisible, untouchable, and safe? The choice is yours. And Ibn-Arabi's secret is simple. Disappear into Allah, and darkness will never find you again. Evil cannot see light, wrapped in remembrance. Shaitan does not see your skin. Jealous people do not see your clothes. Evil does not care for your body. They all look for something else. They look for your light. And if your light is weak, if it flickers with forgetfulness, they can see you clearly. They spot the opening. They find the path to your soul. They walk straight in. But when that same light is wrapped in remembrance, they are blinded. They search for you, but all they see is brilliance. They chase after you, but all they touch is light. And light does not let them through. This is why Ibn-Arabi said the one drowned in Dhikr vanishes. Because remembrance is not just sound. It is a covering. It is a veil. It is a robe of light that hides you from the eyes of evil. Think of the Sunday. When it rises, shadows scatter. They try to stretch across the ground, but the brilliance swallows them. That is what happens when your heart rises with remembrance. The shadows of envy, the whispers of shaitan, the arrows of jealousy, all scatter because the brilliance blinds them. Do you know why the jealous cannot understand you when you live in Dhikr? Because their eyes are fogged. They see you moving, but they cannot explain your strength. They hear your words, but they cannot poison your soul. They feel your presence, but they cannot touch your heart, because your light is covered. And what is covered in light is invisible to darkness. Imagine a moth flying at night. It searches for the faintest flame. Even the smallest spark pulls it in. But place that spark in the middle of the blazing sun. Does the moth still see it? No. It is lost in the brilliance. It is swallowed in the light. This is you, when you are wrapped in remembrance. The jealous may look, but their eyes fail. The envious may chase, but their feet stumble. The whisperer may call, but his voice drowns in silence. Because remembrance blinds them. Because light hides you. The Quran says, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. When you carry His remembrance, you carry a spark of that endless light. And what is endless cannot be pierced by envy. What is endless cannot be dimmed by whispers. When you say His name with your heart, you are wrapping yourself in something the enemy cannot see through. It is like being covered in layers of brightness. Every Subhanallah adds a layer. Every Alhamdulillah adds another. Every Allahu Akbar makes the veil thicker, heavier, stronger, until one day you are no longer standing naked in front of evil. You are standing wrapped, glowing, hidden. The world still sees your body, but the unseen sees nothing but brilliance. And brilliance blinds them. There is a secret hidden in the way light and darkness meet. Darkness is not a force. It has no weight, no substance, no power of its own. It is only the absence of light. And so, the moment light appears, darkness is erased. It does not argue. It does not resist. It simply vanishes. This is why remembrance protects you. Because Dhikr is not only words, it is light. Every time you whisper Allah's name, a spark is lit. And that spark is not ordinary. It is a spark from the source of all light. The more you whisper, the more sparks gather. The more sparks gather, the more you glow. And when you glow, darkness cannot stand. Envy searches for you in the corners of your life. It lurks, waiting for you to slip. But when your life is filled with remembrance, those corners are no longer dark. They are flooded with brilliance. And the envious eyes grow blind. Shaitan looks for you with whispers. He prowls around your thoughts, seeking an open door. But when your heart is wrapped in Dhikr, the door is gone. He knocks, but there is nothing to knock on. He calls, but there is no answer. Because you are no longer available. You are covered in light. The Prophet ﷺ said, "The example of the one who remembers Allah and the one who does not is like the living and the dead. The dead cannot see, cannot hear, cannot defend. The living are awake, alert, protected. When you remember Allah, you are alive in a way that blinds those who seek to harm you. They search for weakness, but they cannot find life outside of your remembrance. You are breathing in a world they cannot enter. Do you see the beauty of this? You do not need to fight them with your hands. You do not need to answer them with your tongue. You do not need to waste your energy, proving your innocence to their hatred. You only need to turn inward, fill your chest with remembrance, and let the light do what it has always done, scatter the dark. There are people who wonder, how do I protect myself from the evil eye, from jealousy, from envy? And the answer is simple. Wrap yourself in Dhikr, not as a duty alone, but as a home. Live inside it. Let it cover your mornings, your nights, your silences, your tears. Let it be the cloth that dresses your soul. So, When jealousy looks for you, it does not find you. It only finds the brilliance of Allah's name. And here lies the greatest secret. Evil cannot see through light. When you glow with remembrance, you do not disappear into nothing. You disappear into brilliance. And brilliance blinds them. Their arrows of envy break before they touch. Their whispers collapse before they land. Their traps dissolve before you even step close. Because remembrance is more than worship. It is a cloak. It is a shield. It is an armor that cannot be pierced. So tonight, remember this. You do not need to escape evil by running. You only need to cover yourself in light. Let every breath carry Allah's name. Let every silence whisper His remembrance. Let every heartbeat glow with His presence. And then, watch what happens. The world will still see you, but evil will not. Because you will no longer be standing in their sight. You will be standing only in the sight of Allah, and what stands in His sight cannot be touched by any shadow. Dhikr is the armor of the unseen. Dhikr is not just words. It is not just sounds leaving your lips. It is not just habit or ritual. It is armor, invisible to the eyes of people, but heavy and unbreakable in the unseen world. Every Subhanallah is a shield you place over your chest. Every Alhamdulillah is a helmet over your head. Every Allahu Akbar is a sword in your hand. Every whisper of His name is a piece of protection stitched into your soul. The Prophet ﷺ told us that remembrance is life, and what is alive is protected. What is dead is exposed. When you remember Allah, your spirit walks covered in iron. When you forget, your spirit walks naked. Think of the soldier on the battlefield. One walks out with no shield, no armor, no sword. The arrows fly, and he falls. The other steps out wrapped in iron, covered from head to toe, and no weapon can pierce him. This is you, when you live without dhikr, and when you live with it. The battlefield of your life is not only outside, it is inside. Whispers in your mind, shadows in your heart, envy in the air. These are the arrows. And dhikr is the only armor that can stop them. Do not mistake this armor for weakness. It does not make you passive. It does not make you hide. It makes you stronger than what hunts you. It makes you unbreakable when everything tries to break you. Every time you say Allahu Akbar and mean it, you raise a shield against despair. Every time you whisper Alhamdulillah, you cut the ropes of envy before they tie around you. Every time you breathe Subhanallah, you set fire to the whispers that crawl through your mind. Every dhikr is armor, and every armor makes you harder to reach. Evil does not waste its arrows on the protected. It waits for the naked. It waits for the unarmed. It waits for those who forget. This is why Ibn-Arabi said, "The one drowned in dhikr vanishes, because when you are fully armored, the battlefield itself forgets your name." Imagine a warrior stepping into battle. The enemy looks around, searching for weakness. They spot every exposed soldier, but when they see the one wrapped in armor, glowing with strength, they hesitate. They know their arrows will not work. They know their blades will break. So, they look away. That is you, when you remember Allah. When you carry dhikr, you are not carrying empty sound. You are carrying a shield that the unseen world recognizes. The angels see it and come closer. The shayateen see it and step back. Creation itself bends to honor the one who is wrapped in the remembrance of the Creator. This armor is not heavy. It does not tire you. It is light upon the tongue, but mighty in protection. It is soft in sound, but unbreakable in strength. You may whisper it in silence, yet the heavens shake with its power. The Quran tells us, "Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest." But it is more than rest. It is refuge. It is the fortress around your heart. It is the wall that envy cannot climb. It is the door that whispers cannot unlock. Think of a child hiding under a blanket. To the world, it looks small and weak, but to that child, the blanket is safety. Now imagine your soul wrapped, not in cloth, but in the remembrance of Allah. Do you think anything can reach you? No, because the armor you carry is not made by hands. It is made by the Lord of the worlds, and this armor does not break. People's armor rusts, shields crack, iron bends, but Dhikr does not age, does not weaken, does not fail. Every time you whisper Allah's name, it is freshly forged. It is stronger than before. It is eternal in its strength because it is connected to the eternal. This is why those who remember Allah constantly seem untouchable. Enemies plan against them, but their plans scatter. Jealous eyes stare at them, but their poison dries. Whispers try to confuse them, but they remain steady. It is not because they are stronger than others. It is because they are armed, while others are naked. Ibn-Arabi said, "When the servant is drowned in dhikr, he vanishes from creation and remains with the Creator." This vanishing is not disappearance. It is protection. It is the final form of armor. It is so much armor that even the battlefield no longer recognizes you as a target. You walk among people, but evil cannot see you. You stand among enemies, but their arrows pass through the air. You sleep at night, but your dreams are guarded. You wake in the morning, but the day cannot harm you. Because your soul is covered, because your chest is armored, because your name is hidden inside the remembrance of Allah. And this is the truth. You do not need wealth to be safe. You do not need numbers to be strong. You do not need titles to be honored. You only need the remembrance of the one who owns every arrow, every whisper, every gaze. So, do not walk naked on the battlefield of life. Do not leave your heart uncovered. Do not let your soul stand unarmed. Every dhikr you whisper is another plate of armor. Every remembrance is another shield. Every name of Allah you carry is another weapon in your hand. And once you are fully armored, you will discover something profound. Evil stops noticing you. It stops chasing you. It stops touching you, because the unseen knows what you are wearing, and it knows it cannot pierce you anymore. Dhikr is not a ritual. It is armor. It is the cloak of the unseen. It is the protection no enemy can break. The heart has two directions. Choose carefully. The heart is the throne inside you. It is not just an organ that pumps blood. It is the house where your soul rests. It is the mirror that reflects what you love. And it always faces in one of two directions. One direction is toward the dunya. When the heart looks that way, it is wide open. It runs after things. It stretches toward desires. It leans into the whispers of others. It becomes restless, unsteady, fragile. It is like a window without glass. Every wind blows through. Every dust storm enters. Every stranger can reach in and take what they want. The other direction is toward Allah. When the heart looks this way, it is sealed, guarded, veiled. It is no longer an open market. It becomes a private chamber. It becomes a fortress with locked doors. It becomes a sanctuary only Allah can enter. This is the reality Ibn-Arabi was pointing to. The protection you are looking for is not outside you. It is inside the direction of your heart. Because whatever way your heart faces, that is the path through which evil or mercy reaches you. If your heart is turned to the world, envy will find you. If your heart is turned to the crowd, their whispers will stick to you. If your heart is turned to people's approval, you will bleed under their gaze. But if your heart is turned to Allah, the world loses its grip. The whispers bounce off the walls. The envy cannot land. The jealousy cannot pierce. Think of a compass. It always points in one direction. If it turns slightly away, it does not matter what road you walk, you will end up lost. Your heart is the same. If it is angled even slightly toward the dunya, your soul will walk into storms. If it is angled toward Allah, no matter how the road bends, you will end up in safety. This is why the heart is called qalb in Arabic, from the root that means to turn, to flip, because it is always turning. sometimes toward the world, sometimes toward Allah. And the one who wants protection must learn to choose its direction carefully. The heart that faces the dunya is like a door left open at night. Anyone can walk in. The thief comes and takes what he wants. The wind blows and scatters the peace. The rain pours and floods the floor. It is a heart that is always exposed. But the heart that faces Allah is like a door closed and locked from inside. No thief can enter. No wind can shake it. No rain can drown it. It is guarded by the remembrance of its owner. It is protected by the one who never sleeps. When your heart faces Allah, the dunya still exists. People may still try to hurt you. Envy may still aim at you. Shaitan may still whisper. But none of it enters. Because the door is turned away. Because the direction of your heart does not allow them in. Have you ever felt a sudden peace, even when the world is crashing around you? That is the heart facing Allah. Have you ever felt heavy, restless, anxious, even when nothing bad is happening? That is the heart facing dunya. Direction decides everything. Two people can pray side by side. One heart faces the dunya distracted, thinking of people, chasing after praise. The other heart faces Allah, drowned in love, hidden in safety. The action is the same, but the direction changes everything. Ibn-Arabi warned, if you face the world, you are always hunted, because the world is full of hunters. Jealousy hunts your blessings. Envy hunts your light. Shaitan hunts your weakness. But if you face Allah, you vanish from their sight. You are no longer a target. So ask yourself every day, where's my heart facing? Toward people who will one day leave me? Toward wealth that will one day rot? Toward desires that will one day burn out? Or toward Allah, who never leaves, who never fades, who never ends? The Prophet ﷺ used to make dua, O turner of hearts, keep my heart firm upon your religion, because even he, the most guided of all creation, knew the heart can turn. And if the heart can turn, then you must always guide it back. Guide it back to Allah. Guide it back to safety. Guide it back to protection. The secret of invisibility is not far. It is as close as the direction of your heart. Turn it toward the world, and you are exposed. Turn it toward Allah, and you are hidden. The heart cannot face both ways. It must choose, and your safety, your peace, your protection is written in that choice. So, tonight, turn inward and ask your heart, who are you facing? The crowd or the Creator? The people or the one who owns their sight? The dunya or the one who made the dunya? Choose carefully, because the direction of your heart decides whether you are hunted or whether you vanish safely into Allah. Change the address of your soul. Your soul has an address. It is not written on paper. It is not a street or a house. It is where your heart chooses to live, and that address decides who finds you. When your address is written in dunya, evil knows where to knock. Jealous eyes know where to search. Whispers know where to creep in, because your soul is still standing at the edge of the marketplace, exposed to every gaze. But when you change the address of your soul, everything changes. When your heart shifts from dunya to Allah, it is like moving to a hidden fortress. The envious search, but the map no longer matches. The whisperers call your name, but there is no answer. The arrows of hatred fly, but they land on an empty ground. This is why Ibn-Arabi said that the servant who drowns in dhikr vanishes from creation, because remembrance changes your address. It deletes you from the records of evil. It removes your name from the scrolls of envy. It takes you off the maps of shaitan. Think of someone moving homes. The old address is filled with letters, visitors, noise. But once you change your address, those who chase you are left wandering. They knock on the old door, but no one answers. They circle the old street, but your shadow is gone. You live somewhere else now, somewhere they cannot enter. That is what Dhikr does to your soul. Every time you remember Allah, it is like signing a new lease in the heavens. You move higher, you move deeper, you move into a place where only Allah's mercy can reach you. Evil searches for you, but it is searching at the wrong house. It is staring at the wrong street. It is calling in the wrong valley, because you have changed your address. You no longer live where you once lived. You live in remembrance, and remembrance is not on their maps. The world hunts you where you used to be. Envy remembers the places you once stood. Shaitan remembers the weaknesses you once had. The jealous knock on the doors where you used to answer. But when you change your address, they are left knocking on emptiness. They whisper, but the whispers echo back in silence. They aim, but the arrow hits only air. They reach, but their hands close on nothing, because you are no longer standing there. You are not in the streets of dunya anymore. You are not in the marketplace of people's approval. You are not in the rooms of envy or jealousy. Your soul has shifted. Your soul has moved. Your soul has written a new address, one that evil cannot find. That address is remembrance. That address is sujud. That address is Quran recited in the night. That address is a heart soaked in Allah's name. That address is silence that whispers only Subhanallah. That address is tears that fall only for Him. And once you move into that address, no one else owns the key. No eye can spy through its window. No whisper can climb its wall. No envy can break its door, because the house belongs to Allah, and what belongs to Him is not touched without His permission. Imagine two travelers. One builds his tent in the middle of the desert, wide open. Every thief sees the fire of his camp. Every bandit sees the smoke of his food. He is found easily, and he is plundered. The other builds his tent deep in the mountains, hidden between cliffs. He lights no fire that can be seen from afar. He eats in silence. He rests in shadow. The thieves search, but they never find him. The bandits wander, but they never reach him, because his address is hidden. Your heart is that traveler. If you live in dunya, your campfire burns in the open, and every enemy can find you. But if you move into remembrance, you have climbed the mountain, and your tent is invisible. Ibn-Arabi taught us, the one who lives in Dhikr is erased from creation's sight. It is as if Allah Himself crosses your name off their list. He removes you from their memory. He hides you behind His veil. So what is left for envy to attack? Nothing. What is left for jealousy to pierce? Nothing. What is left for Shaitan to whisper to? Nothing. Because your soul has moved. Because your address is no longer here. And this is the deepest protection of all. Not charms, not amulets, not human tricks, but a change of address so complete that evil cannot forward its letters to you anymore. When you change your address, the world keeps searching for the old you. They remember the place where you used to fall. They remember the doors where you used to open yourself. They remember the weaknesses you once showed. So they return again and again, expecting to find you there. But when they arrive, they find emptiness. The room is dark. The door is locked. The path has been erased by wind and sand. They stand there, confused. They knock louder, but no one answers. Because you have moved. Because your soul no longer lives at that address. And this is what confuses them most. They thought they knew you. They thought they owned you. They thought they could summon you with one word, one look, one whisper. But when Allah moves you, no one else can call you back. When He changes your address, no map leads to you except His. Do you understand the beauty of this? The people who envied you may still remember your name, but they cannot find your soul. The ones who plotted against you may still talk about you, but they cannot touch you. The Shaitan may still try to tempt you, but his voice falls into silence, because you no longer live in the same space where he whispers. Changing the address of your soul means moving from being seen to being hidden. It means moving from the crowd's applause to Allah's gaze alone. It means moving from a house made of dust to a fortress made of light. Every dhikr is like a step into a new neighborhood. Every prayer is like a key to another door. Every sajda is like signing a new contract with the heavens. And slowly, without even realizing, you find that your soul no longer lives where harm can find it. It lives elsewhere. It lives in Allah's remembrance. It lives in Allah's mercy. It lives in Allah's safety. Think of a letter sent to the wrong house. It arrives, but the person is no longer there. The neighbors say, "He moved. You won't find him here anymore." That is how evil feels when it tries to reach you. It arrives at the wrong door. It calls your name, but you do not answer. Because Allah has moved you. Because your soul is no longer registered under their sight. This is why dhikr is not a habit. It is migration. It is hijrah of the soul. It is leaving behind the old streets of weakness and moving into the high gardens of strength. And once you arrive there, no one can evict you, because your landlord is Allah, and what He protects, no thief can steal. Invisibility is elevation, not escape. Invisibility is not escape. It is not running from the world. It is not hiding in a corner, trembling at the thought of harm. It is rising. It is climbing. It is reaching a height where the arrows of envy cannot travel. When a bird spreads its wings and flies into the sky, the hunters below may still shoot, but their arrows fall short. They break in the wind. They lose their strength before they ever touch the feathers of the bird. Why? Because the bird has risen above their reach. This is what it means to be invisible to evil. Not that you vanished into fear, not that you escaped into hiding, but that you elevated into a place where envy, jealousy, and whispers cannot climb. Evil has limits. It only works on those who stand on the same ground. Whispers can only crawl through hearts that lie low. Envy can only strike those who leave their blessings unguarded. But the one who rises into dhikr is carried above those limits. The one who climbs into Allah's nearness is lifted to a height no darkness can enter. The Quran tells us, "And whoever holds firmly to Allah has been guided to a straight path." To hold firmly to Him is to be lifted by Him. And when He lifts you, you are safe. When He raises you, you are invisible. When He guards you, no arrow can touch you. The truth is this: you were not created to crawl on the ground of people's opinions. You were not created to sit in the dust of jealousy. You were not created to live in the shadows of whispers. You were created to rise in remembrance, to rise in worship, to rise in love of Allah until you live where harm cannot breathe. So, understand this well. Invisibility is not cowardice. It is not turning your back on life. It is the highest form of strength. It is the decision to leave behind the ground where arrows are fired and to live in the sky where only light shines. When smoke rises, no hand can hold it. When light climbs the sky, no shadow can swallow it. When the soul ascends in remembrance, no envy, no jealousy, no shaitan can reach it. This is the mystery of elevation. You do not need to fight every arrow. You do not need to answer every whisper. You do not need to defend yourself against every jealous eye. You only need to rise, because the battlefield belongs to them. The arguments, the slander, the envy, they crawl in the dust. And the dust is not your home. You were made for heights. Heights where words cannot reach. Heights where hatred cannot climb. Heights where even the strongest enemy grows too weak to follow. When you elevate through dhikr, you are not escaping the dunya. You are seeing it from above. The insults that once crushed you now look small, like ants on the ground. The envy that once burned you now looks like sparks that fade before they rise. The whispers that once shook you now sound like faint echoes too far to matter. This is why invisibility is not escape. Escape leaves you weak. Elevation makes you strong. Escape is running away from fear. Elevation is walking into safety. Escape hides in darkness. Elevation shines in light. The Prophet ﷺ would often retreat into prayer when the world pressed against him. It was not escape, it was ascension. In sujood, he rose closer to Allah than any throne or palace could ever bring him. In Dhikr, he climbed higher than the insults of Quraysh, higher than the envy of enemies, higher than the whispers of shaitan. This is your path too. Every sajda is a ladder. Every dhikr is a wing. Every verse of Quran is a rope pulling you higher. And every step higher makes you harder to touch. Every breath higher makes you harder to see. Jealous people may still gather below, but they will only find your shadow, never your soul. Enemies may still throw stones, but their arms are too weak to reach the sky. Shaitan may still whisper, but his voice cannot rise into the light. Elevation blinds them. Elevation makes you invisible without hiding. Elevation makes you untouchable without running. Look at the mountain. Winds scream at its base. Storms rage around its feet. But its peak rests above the clouds, untouched, silent, calm. That is the soul that rises in remembrance. It lives above the storm. It stands where no lightning can strike. Look at the eagle. On the ground, it would be vulnerable. But when it spreads its wings, it climbs into heights no predator can follow. That is the believer's heart in Dhikr. It rises where envy cannot fly. It soars where whispers grow breathless. This is why Ibn-Arabi taught, invisibility is not absence, it is presence at a higher level. You are still here. You still walk among people, but your soul is not trapped in their reach. It is stationed in a height they cannot imagine. Do you see the difference? Escape hides in caves of fear. Elevation stands on mountains of light. Escape runs from the enemy. Elevation leaves the enemy too low to matter. And here is the secret. The more you rise, the less they see. Jealousy fades because it cannot climb to your station. Envy loses its aim because you are no longer in its line of sight. Shaitan tires himself searching for you until he whispers only into emptiness. You are not invisible because you vanished. You are invisible because you climbed too high to be seen. So, how do you rise? Not with wealth, not with power, not with fame. You rise with dhikr. You rise with prayer in the last third of the night. You rise with Quran that you let sink into your chest. You rise with patience when the world mocks you. You rise with gratitude when Allah gives you even the smallest blessing. Every one of these is a step up the mountain. Every one of these is another flap of your wings. And the higher you go, the safer you are. Do not waste your life crawling in the dirt, fighting shadows with your bare hands. Rise. Do not spend your nights trying to silence every whisper, one by one. Rise. Do not waste your tears proving yourself to those who do not see your worth. Rise. Because when you rise, you vanish. When you rise, you are shielded. When you rise, you become invisible, not from weakness, but from strength. And tonight, Allah is whispering to you, I did not create you to crawl in fear. I created you to rise in remembrance. Let me lift you where no harm can touch you. The more you remember Him, the more they forget you. The more you remember Allah, the more creation forgets you. This is not metaphor, it is reality. Because remembrance rewrites your presence. It covers you in a light so thick that the eyes of envy slip away. It fills you with a silence so deep that whispers cannot enter. It surrounds you with a shield so complete that hatred loses your name. When you carry Allah's name on your tongue, you are carrying fire to burn the records of those who seek you. Every Subhanallah erases your footprints. Every Alhamdulillah deletes your name from their memory. Every Allahu Akbar removes your trace from their maps, until one day they look for you and find nothing. They remember your shadow, but not your presence. They recall your name, but not your soul. They reach for your weakness, but it is no longer there. Because remembrance has rewritten your identity. Because dhikr has covered you with a veil they cannot see through. This is the secret Ibn-Arabi whispered. He said, "When a servant drowns in remembrance, he remains only with the Creator. And when you remain only with the Creator, creation forgets you." Think of a name written on water. The moment you move, the letters scatter. Nothing remains. That is how envy remembers you when you live in dhikr. They try to call your name, but their voice falls into emptiness. They try to whisper your harm, but their tongues grow heavy. They try to pierce your soul, but their eyes lose sight of you. Because remembrance is not only life for you, it is forgetfulness for them. The more you remember Him, the more they forget you. When you forget Allah, the world remembers you. Every jealous eye remembers your blessing. Every envious heart remembers your success. Every shaitan remembers your weakness. Because forgetting Allah leaves your name written in their records. It leaves your soul standing in their sight. But the moment you begin remembrance, those records burn. It is like taking your name off their scrolls. It is like deleting your image from their vision. It is like erasing your presence from their memory. This is why those who live in dhikr are not destroyed by their enemies. Because their enemies cannot hold on to them. They slip from their grip. They vanish from their memory. They fade into Allah's protection. Have you ever seen someone trying to grab smoke? Their fingers close, but nothing stays. That is what envy feels when it tries to hold you in remembrance. It tries to clutch your light, but your light has risen beyond their hands. It tries to pierce your soul, but your soul is wrapped in brilliance. They cannot grasp you. They cannot keep you. They forget you. This is why dhikr is more than worship. It is erasure. It erases you from the pages of envy. It erases you from the eyes of jealousy. It erases you from the whispers of shaitan, until they stand looking for you, confused, frustrated, powerless. And while they forget, Allah remembers. While they erase your name, He writes it higher. While they lose sight of you, He gazes at you with mercy. While they forget you, He draws you closer. That is the exchange. Their forgetfulness becomes your safety. His remembrance becomes your honor. So, do not fear when the world forgets you. Do not grieve when people lose interest in you. Do not cry when envy no longer calls your name. For every memory erased by creation is a memory renewed by the Creator. The more you remember Him, the more they forget you. And the more He remembers you, the more you rise beyond their reach. There is a secret law in the unseen. Two memories cannot hold you at once. If Allah remembers you, creation forgets you. If creation remembers you, Allah leaves you to them. So, which memory do you want to live in? The fragile memory of people, which fades in a moment, or the eternal memory of Allah, which never dies? When your soul is drowned in dhikr, creation loses its grip, their envy slips, their jealousy fades, their whispers dry, because they cannot hold on to what Allah has hidden. It is like standing under a waterfall. The water covers you, hides you, shields you. No one can see the details of your face. They only see the rushing veil of water. That is remembrance. It hides you in a flowing veil of light, until nothing of you remains exposed. It is like walking in the Sunday. Your shadow falls behind you, but no one can catch it. They chase it, but it keeps moving away. That is remembrance. It keeps your enemies chasing a shadow while your soul keeps walking forward. And here is the most beautiful part. When they forget you, you are freed. Freed from their opinions. Freed from their judgments. Freed from their chains. You no longer live as their prisoner. You live only as Allah's servant. The Prophet ﷺ told us that Allah says, "Remember me, and I will remember you." Think of that. Every time you whisper His name, He whispers yours. Every time you carry His remembrance, He carries you in His mercy. And when He remembers you, creation forgets you. So tonight, understand this. Your safety is not in fighting every whisper. Your peace is not in silencing every jealous eye. Your protection is not in proving yourself to people. Your safety, your peace, your protection, it is in remembrance so deep that you disappear from their memory. The more you remember him, the more they forget you. And the more they forget you, the closer you are drawn into him. So whisper his name. Whisper it in your silence. Whisper it in your fear. Whisper it in your tears. Whisper it until the world no longer knows your name. And whisper it until only Allah does. For if he remembers you, what else matters? And if he remembers you, who else needs to? Protection is not chains of iron. It is not walls of stone. It is not doors locked with keys. True protection is a whisper from Allah that shields you from everything that would harm you. The whisper is subtle. It is not shouted in your ear. It comes quietly, like a breeze at night, like the soft glow of dawn, like the warmth of a hand you cannot see but can always feel. This whisper says, "You are safe with me. You are hidden in me. You are untouchable when you live in my remembrance." That is the golden whisper of protection. It is not superstition. It is not a secret charm. It is not a talisman you hang on your wall. It is the light that floods your chest when you remember Allah. It is the calm that fills your heart when you trust him completely. It is the veil that surrounds you when you walk carrying his name. The golden whisper is what makes evil forget your face. It is what makes jealousy stumble when it tries to find you. It is what makes whispers fall silent when they call your name, because Allah himself has hidden you under his cover. Imagine a traveler walking in a desert. The sun burns, the winds cut, the ground swallows every step. He feels exposed, but then a cloud appears above him, a cloud no one else can see, a cloud that follows his every move, a cloud that shades him wherever he goes. That is the golden whisper of protection. It follows you, it covers you, it shades you, it keeps you safe. Imagine a ship at sea. The waves rise like mountains. The wind screams like thunder. The storm rages. But deep under the surface, in the heart of the ocean, all is calm. The water there does not move. It does not rage. It does not break. It is peace untouched by storms. That is the golden whisper of protection. The world may rage around you, but deep inside, where Allah has hidden you, all is calm. And here is the truth. No one can give you this whisper but Allah. Not friends, not family, not wealth, not status. Only him. And when he whispers, the whole creation is silenced. The golden whisper does not come with noise. It comes when the world is silent. It comes when you are lying in your bed, eyes open, unable to sleep, heart heavy. It comes when no one else sees your pain, when no one else notices your tears, and suddenly you feel it. A calm sliding into your chest, a softness brushing against your heart, a sense that someone has covered you. This is Allah's way of protecting his servant, not with armies, not with crowds, but with a whisper so soft that it drowns the loudest voices of envy, a whisper so bright that it blinds the sharpest eyes of jealousy, a whisper so heavy that it breaks the chains of shaitan without anyone hearing it. That whisper is a shield you cannot buy. It is a veil you cannot weave. It is a cover you cannot make. It is only given, and when it is given, no force on earth can remove it. Sometimes the whisper takes the form of sudden peace. You are surrounded by problems, but inside you feel safe. You should be afraid, but your heart is calm. You should be restless, but you feel anchored. That is not coincidence. That is the whisper covering you. Sometimes the whisper takes the form of a delay. You wanted something, but Allah kept it away. You begged for a door to open, but it remained shut. And you cried, not knowing that behind that door was harm waiting for you. The golden whisper was keeping you out, protecting you from what you thought was good. Sometimes, the whisper takes the form of silence. No answer, no sign, nothing clear. And yet, that silence itself is protection. It keeps you waiting in a place where evil cannot find you. It hides you in stillness, so the arrows of envy pass by without ever landing. This is why the friends of Allah always felt safe, even when the world turned against them. It was not their power. It was not their wealth. It was not their numbers. It was the golden whisper of protection that wrapped them in Allah's mercy. And tonight, if you are listening, you must know that whisper is not far from you. It is not for saints alone. It is not for the perfect. It is for the broken who turn back. It is for the tired who call on Him. It is for the hearts that whisper His name, even in weakness. The golden whisper of protection is not always seen. It is often hidden. You may only recognize it after years, when you look back and realize, Allah saved me from something I thought I wanted. He shielded me from harm I thought was love. He closed a door I thought was my future. That closing was the whisper. That silence was the whisper. That distance was the whisper. And if Allah had not whispered, you would have been destroyed. Sometimes you wonder why certain people forget you, why they stop calling your name, why they stop noticing your presence, why they suddenly lose interest in you. Do not grieve. Do not think it is rejection. It is protection. Allah erased you from their memory so you could be hidden in His. Sometimes you wonder why a place you loved no longer feels like home, why your heart grows restless when you stay there, why your soul pushes you away even when your body wants to remain. Do not resist it. That is the whisper, pulling you out of harm's reach. That is the whisper, covering you from what your eyes cannot see. Sometimes you wonder why your plans keep breaking, why every path you try to walk suddenly collapses, why every effort ends in silence. Do not think it is failure. It is protection. The whisper is blocking you from stepping into traps you do not see. The whisper is turning you around before envy catches you. And here is the most beautiful truth. The golden whisper is not random. It is personal. It is tailor-made for you. It fits the shape of your heart, your wounds, your story. What protected someone else may not protect you, but Allah whispers exactly what your soul needs. That is why you cannot compare your life to anyone else's, because Allah is writing a protection for you that no one else can understand. And that whisper is worth more than armies, more than walls, more than shields. When Allah protects you, He does not always shout it. He does not always show it. Sometimes He hides you so gently you do not even notice, until one day you realize you were never abandoned. You were always guarded, always covered, always wrapped in a whisper no enemy could touch. And tonight, this whisper may be the one reaching you. Through these words, through this reminder, through the ache in your heart, Allah may be whispering, I have been protecting you all along, even in your tears, even in your pain, even when you thought you were forgotten. You were never forgotten. You were hidden. You were mine. And when without ready, and now you know, Ibn-Arabi's secret was never about escaping the world. It was about disappearing into Allah so completely that evil no longer remembers your name. My dear soul, you thought you were exposed. You thought jealousy was stronger than you. You thought shaitan could break you. But what you did not see is that every subhanallah, every alhamdulillah, every whisper of His name has been rewriting your address, moving you out of their reach, hiding you in His mercy. And tonight, Allah is whispering to you, you were never unprotected. You were never forgotten. You were never left exposed. You were mine all along. And when I shield you, no shadow, no envy, no whisper can ever find you. So, walk now in peace, not in fear, not in weakness, but wrapped in the armor of remembrance, carried by the light of His protection, invisible to all that would harm you, visible only to the one who loves you most. Remember Him, and you will never walk naked in this world again. Remember him, and you will never be left alone. Remember him, and you will hear the golden whisper of protection for the rest of your life.